Guys, welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at Diablo 4 here again this week with the open beta, and queues are already filling up like crazy, and there's definitely server-side performance issues. But as far as the game's performance here locally on the machine, it seems improved with the Proton experimental fix, and GE Proton 53 is also available. I'm running experimental in this video, so if you don't already know how to do that, I'll show you here real quick. But in properties, we have compatibility, and then I'm forcing Proton experimental. You can go up to your search bar if you don't have this showing up for yourself and search for Proton here. Once you do that, all the different Proton layers will show up down here in the library, and you can download what you need. You go down here and you'll find Proton Experimental. You can click on it. If it's not already installed, you can click install, then it should show up for you. If it doesn't, restart your deck and try again. But that's what I'm running here for this video. Valve put a fix in Experimental to get Diablo 4 working, and it seems to be doing well. Alternatively, if you want to run GE Proton 53, jump over to your desktop and into the Discovery Store, and I have Proton Up QT here. If you don't already have that, you can install it. We'll launch that, and that's how we'll get our GE Proton 53, which also has a fix for Diablo 4. Now, I booted into 53 just for a little bit, and then I got kicked out of the server and into another long queue, so I didn't get to test it for very long, but it seemed to be similar performance as what I was getting on experimental. But again, I didn't get into it very deep there, so you guys let me know if you've experienced more with that. But this video is more focused on experimental. And as we go in here, you can see the settings are full screen, 800p, no cap on the frame rate or VSync, off for FSR at the moment. We'll take a look at that closer, and low is the preset with all the little tick boxes turned off here and anything else on low. Basically keeping it close to what I had testing last week when it comes to performance. And as far as the deck settings go, I didn't really do anything special. I'm not capping frame rate, and I'm also not allowing tearing right now or anything like that. Pretty much just running standard here. And as far as performance in the cities, we already know how rough that is, and there's server-side issues as well, and it's kind of a tough thing running in these areas, but I did want to show it because it is running better than it was for me last week. We still have the dips and the stutters and stuff going on here and there, but it's not near as bad, at least for me so far here on the first day of the open beta, when it comes to just how bad the drops and stutters and load-in things were last week. But we'll see how that goes as the weekend goes on here. Now, when we get away from there, we get out into combat and stuff, things definitely feel better to me this week than they did. Between the GPU driver updates, probably the updates to Diablo, to the compatibility layers, just everything seems to be running a bit smoother. Frame times seem better. I'm not dropping frame rate as much. Now, we're at 73 FPS just sitting right here. If we want to go in and kick on FSR, we can do that. So we'll take a look here and we'll kick in FSR quality. The thing is with this game is it's a lot of CPU bound stuff going on, or server side issues. We're not always pushing the GPU to the max, and FSR is more useful when you're really pushing the GPU because that's the resolution side of things. But you can see we do gain some FPS, but it drops and comes back depending on how hard the CPU is getting hit as the GPU is kind of waiting on information. So how helpful FSR is going to be is going to depend on how high you're running your settings and that type of thing, how beneficial that's going to be for the GPU side of things. But very smooth and running well here with FSR quality, as you can see out here in the open world. Now, if I switch things up to medium here, leaving FSR on quality, you can see we still hold a pretty decent frame rate in this area. Again, I can only show you certain areas of the game. This is going to vary depending on, if you're in cities or inside dungeons, outside, daytime, nighttime, weather, different maps. But just showing you what's going on here, it's running pretty well. Now, if I jump over to high settings now, of course, we're going to run much lower, but I was actually surprised to see it running even as well as it was here. Definitely pushing the GPU up there, so FSR is probably helping us a little bit more, benefiting us more here with FSR and quality. And yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised, at least out in the world fighting, how high was going to do for me. But if you jump back over to a city or a crowded area, high definitely becomes an issue, and I don't think it's the way I would want to necessarily be playing the game. I just definitely wanted to take a look at it this week and see what it was doing. I'd probably stick with my low custom or medium, depending on if I'm going for 30 FPS, 40 FPS, or 60 FPS lock in the game. Now, if we go over here and switch back to the low preset in the same area of the city here from high, you'll see, of course, things do get much better, just like the nighttime version I was showing you at the beginning of the video. So running very similarly, but way better than high, and it's able to handle things pretty well here, and this is still with FSR quality on. And if we want to switch it over and take a look at the same settings but turn FSR off, you'll see again very similar performance here. The GPU will get hit a little bit harder, but As CPU intensive as things get, again, it's going to depend on where you're at in the game as to how beneficial messing with the settings and messing with FSR will really be. But the overall takeaway for me this week so far with day one of the open beta here on the deck with SteamOS is that it's definitely running much more stable than it was for me last week. I like seeing these fixes happen so quickly, and I have a lot more hope for when the game actually launches for us in June. If the beta is able to run this well in its first couple of weeks and see some nice improvements just in the first week, then I'm thinking by the time the game launches, we shouldn't have any problem running it at a nice 30, 40, or 60, depending on how you're wanting to run the game or your battery or that type of thing. But it's awesome to see Diablo 4 running on the Steam Deck at all, let alone running this well now. I was pretty impressed with it, and I'm definitely going to enjoy playing the open beta more over the weekend. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you tried more GE Proton 53? Are you getting similar results? What's your experience with Diablo 4 on your deck? All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to watch the video. As always, I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.